and welcome. This is Let's Connect, and I am Rishara Ganguly. So today we are in conversation with Amruta Subhash and Anjali Patil, who star in Dithee, that is going to release on SonyLIV on 21st May. So thank you for joining me in this interview. How are you? And I hope you and your families are safe and sound and just indoors. And right now, nothing doing, just no going outside.
We are trying to be safe as much as possible, but yes.
Yes, that is good news, and I hope that it remains like that. Dithee is a film that was made and released exclusively in Cannes in 2019, and now it is releasing on SonyLIV for India to finally experience late Sumitra Bhave's last salute to Indian and Marathi cinema. So how would you describe your feelings now that the film is finally releasing into the world, but in the unfortunate absence of your director?
Yeah, as you rightly said, I'm still not in. I cannot digest the news of her demise, frankly, because I started my career with her. I made my debut with her, and I did so many different roles in different films with her. She taught me so many things and with each role, she taught me a different. It was a different lesson. Each film was a different lesson, and I find this is a strange coincidence. I mean, I never thought that this was going to be my last film with her, because we were in lockdown. Also, she was, we were talking, and she was telling me about her next film and what my look would be, and how she wanted to do that film, and she was preparing for that film. So it is a shock for all of us that she's not with us physically, I would say, because as the subject of the film tells us, it's a strange coincidence that this film talks about the loss of a loved one, and this happens to be her last lesson given to me. This is a strange coincidence. I mean, she's not here, so maybe she wants me to learn this lesson, which is a difficult lesson for me. It is very difficult for me to read the credit as late Sumitra Bhave, when it comes in the promotions. She talks about Advaita, the Siddhanta of Advaita in the film. And as you might have read, the film talks about death of the protagonist's son, which is played by Kishore Kadam, and when he dies, how Kishore comes in terms with that death, and Sumitra Maushi takes us on this spiritual journey, and I'm trying to learn what she has said, what the film is trying to teach me, but when she's not around, it's a difficult lesson to learn.
Yes. I keep thinking about it, and I feel there is a loss of the form. Of course, there is a loss of her form. But when this news came to me, it was a shock, and at the same time, I was laughing. It's a very, very strange way to kind of, but I was like, okay, she's more close now. She's closer than ever. Now I don't have to go to Pune and see her. I can see her and talk to her at any time of the day. And this is the same thing. Me and Kishore Dada, we exchanged few messages, how what's happening, and he was also finding a way that when he will be. He was having a lot of emotional turmoil going inside of him, and then he said that I could hear her voice that Kishore, use this for there will be another director who will give you a role, a character where you can use this, so hold on to it. That's what he told me, and for me, I feel of course I'll be missing talking to her. She was like a girlfriend, she was like a grandma, a mentor, everything personified that I would like to see in myself as a filmmaker, as an artist, as a director. So all of that missing of actual physical form will be definitely there, but there is more closeness somehow in some strange way, and also the films. She has left us with the legacy of her films, and yeah, and she would be very happy. I'm sure that she's like smiling, and she's absolutely happy about this as well.
I I have watched your film, and I can only say that it was. This is a masterpiece in itself, and I can't describe Dithee as anything else than being a masterpiece. And being her last salute is just it's in its own way beautiful and mesmerizing, and also very saddening. Like you feel like this, like your heart just breaks. And I felt such a like it was so powerful, the film itself. And now that it's releasing on SonyLIV, I hope that the Indian audience will also feel that power that the film wants to send out to the people. So the film prominently, I think it gives spotlight to Kishore Kadam's character as Ramji. And would you say that the character was kind of an anchor to your characters, Parubai and Tulsa, and their journey?
Yeah, I mean, yes. He's the central character, and yes, the theme of the film is coming through him, because all the things he's saying also before his son dies, all the things he's preaching to his friends. They have this in Marathi we call it Chaukadi. All of them come together and they are discussing these spiritual things. They are reading these different saints from Marathi. They are reading their creations. So yes, in a way it is, but when Sumitra Maushi used to write a script, every character would contribute very vitally to the main theme of the story. That's what I thought. So whether it's Tulsa, whether it's Parubai or Parubai's husband, or all the other characters, or the whole village, or the locale, the whole thing when it's raining, and the way that locale plays such a great role in the whole theme of the film. And even the Tulsa's house, for example, it's half lit, and she's in that darkness inside, and Parubai is running through streets, and it's that when we just started this interview with Cyclone, we were talking about that. So it's that kind of a thing that she's running through that kind of a rain, heavy rains, and then everybody, it's kind of symbolic also. Right now we are in a situation, this pandemic, it's kind of a symbolically, I think it's kind of that heavy rain and that cyclone and everything. It's symbolically that, and every one of us is running, trying to be centered, trying to gather support, or give support to others, or we are trying our best. But all this is, I think, contributing in Dithee to the main theme of flowing of life. This is life, death is part of life, and life is part, like the birth is also part of life, and there is this circle going on, life death. Every day I get news from one of my friends that maybe one of my friends has lost his or her parents, and at the same time I just got news from my driver that his son is born. And actually I got that news that his wife just gave birth to a beautiful healthy son. So I'm like, okay, yes, so you have to take this both inside, and you have to be centered, because we are devastated when we hear about something about someone's death. But then Tulsa has a beautiful creature. I mean, she has that, she has her daughter with her, I think. And so it's all, even that little child is contributing to the theme. That's what I think.
Yeah. Sumitra Maushi's, I think the entire, all her films, and now we are talking about the tea, but I think the best part about her filmmaking is that they're not bound by, the typical laws of the filmmaking. Like every single thing, she carves it. It's like a very fine carpet which she weaves. And the monsoon, as Amrita is saying, monsoon plays a heavy part in the film. Uh, um, and all the dimension which, like uh, Shashank plays Amrita's husband in the film, their dynamic and their and her being the stronger in the relationship, and him being really, vulnerable and really soft. These are very small, very subtle things. Shrikant Yadav plays. He comes for this one scene where they all are talking, where he has lost someone, and Kishore Dada is, consoling. Everybody is consoling him. I was sleeping around there. I had nothing to do, so I was in my sari and I was just sleeping near the temple by the bank of the river, and I was just seeing that scene, and that was a complete scene in itself. Everything about that unit was complete in itself. So or Gargi, the lady who finds her boy and she whacks him. He's lost somewhere. It's just a tiny scene, and but every single thing, everyone is a very important unit, and we cannot look at it as Kishore Dada being the central. Of course, he's the central, and everybody is playing. But you take out one thing and it won't be
Right.
this. So that's her magic. I think that's her magic. With each film you can see that the calf which bonds,
Exactly, the cow. Exactly.
the cow. so we, as much as Kishore Dada is important, as that's the same level of the cow. And so in a way we leave our condition to think of this as a central. And in life everything is like important. We cannot take out one element. So I learned this a lot from this entire, her style of filmmaking, that we are so conditioned to think in a very, villain hai, hero hai, damsel in distress hai, and then, the things keep happening. But it's a very one-dimensional way of life. Life is more vivid, more detailed and subtle, and she has that eye. That she keeps capturing it, and presenting it, so we can just relish that.
So then,
As Anjali very rightly said, that even not only the human beings but even animals in many of her films play a very important character. Like this cow. You have seen the film, so you know how important that cow's role is, and she was amazing, and so even she is such an important part of the central theme. So like for example in Astu, that elephant was such an important part of the main theme. So like Sumitra Bhave won't leave, even like she knew she was such a great director that even animals would be very integral part of the theme and they would perform so well.
Yes.
So then would you say that the theme is actually the protagonist of the film?
Yeah, well said. Of course. I mean, I think for every good film, content is the king, and now I would say content is the queen. Content is everything, and I always say that because if there's content is, if in Marathi we have a saying, "Adat nahi ta puryat kuthun yena." Like if you don't have content, then other things like actors, good director, good cinematography, nothing, no one can do anything if you don't have it. The seed is not fruitful, then the tree won't it grow. So I believe for every good film, the content comes foremost, and same goes for the team.
Yes, definitely. I'm very lucky that we are in a time where content is queen, and we are kind of witnessing this change. I know many of us actors, artists were kind of disheartened by this many things which kind of worked in a way which were not full of not really healthy stuff in terms of films, in terms of art, which is not poshak, like we need to have good content is a healthy meal, for my mind, for my body, for the society. Right. So I think it's a good time that we are witnessing this change, that people are choosing healthy content, choosing healthy meal over something which is just fluffy. And of course, entertainment has its own place, and there is no denial in that. But now is a time when people are more conscious and more choosy with their taste. So I think we are lucky that he is also coming on an OTT platform where people get to choose. And a lot of audience, they have struggled to find Sumitra Bhave's cinema on it has showcased in so many festivals all across India, internationally. But the audience here has been always, kind of, it couldn't find its audience here. Yeah. So many people were happy when they got to know that, they'll finally able to watch this film. So just happy. Yes.
Yes. So I'm really proud of SonyLIV for, bringing her last film, and so nice.
Yes.
I'm very excited for how the audience will perceive the film, because it is a very enigmatic film. And I think people will love it a lot, because it just is that kind of a film that relates to you no matter who the person is. Everyone will relate to the theme of the story, as you said, because the theme is the protagonist and the theme is the hero. So, Amruta ma'am, you've become the strength of your character's narrative in any series or movie that you've played in. And how did you then prepare to be in the psyche of your character Parubai? Because she is a different character than who you've played before. So how did you kind of become Parubai in Dithee?
With Sumitra Bhave, it was always, she would contribute and she would tell every minute detail of her characters to me. All the characters I've played with her. So same with Parubai. So this character was older than my own age. So we were thinking, how should I portray it? So we were shooting in a village. So there was this woman who used to tie sari for me, because if you've seen the film, it's a different kind of sari I wear in the film. So she used to, do that for me. And Sumitra Bhave, once she heard her voice, and then Sumitra Bhave said, I think her voice, you observe her voice, and she wanted, as Anjali rightly said, that this chemistry between my husband and Parubai's husband and Parubai. So normally, it's it's shown like the husband is stronger person and wife is vulnerable and crying. That's the normal chemistry we tend to think about. But then Sumitra Bhave had reversed the thing, and she always used to say, men have this burden of not crying. Why they can of course they can be vulnerable and they can be crying. And then Shashank played it so beautifully in the film that he's the one who is vulnerable, crying, and he's very full of anxiety. He's expressing his anxiety, and I'm Parubai is more kind of stronger, and she is taking actions, and he's just sitting there and just so she said that Parubai, she wanted to be someone who has seen all ups and downs of life, and she's a woman who, instead of going emotional way, she would go the action way, so she's more practical kind of a woman. So she said that her voice, she wanted me to take out all the melody in my voice, like normally when I'm talking to you right now. So she said, I want her voice zada bharda. We have this word in Marathi. Zada bharda is like devoid of all emotion. It's like, very, this kind of, there's no emotion in the voice. So that woman who used to tie, make me wear my sari, she had this kind of voice, and she was like, nothing would touch her, and easily, and that kind of woman who is very strong, and that kind of woman, at least she gave that impression to us. So Sumitra Bhave said that that voice would give you Parubai's thing. So when I was about to give the shot, I tried that voice, but it was a thin line, because that could sound false also. Like, you have to carry it if you're going, if you're going to change something so dramatically, you have to carry it throughout the character. And then, so it was challenging for me, and it should not look false also. It should not look something which is put on thing on you. Like, that voice should be, one with the whole picture of the character. So it was a challenging thing which Sumitra Maushi tried. And then every take she would be like, remember her voice. And every morning when I'll go to the village, I'll hear her voice, because she will make me tie the sand, and then I'll be like, this is my voice, and I'll go on the set and I would remember that. And then while dubbing, Sumitra Maushi again made me remember her voice, and then it gave some uniformity. And then that was the biggest thing. And of course, second thing was not to slip while I'm, because it was very slippery when she's running.
Right.
It was very difficult, No, Anjali, remember that?
Oh my God, I can't.
It was that all keychain and everything. And so, but see, Parubai cannot slip, because these women, they have their balance is such that their body balance, they don't go like that. No? And they're because they are so used to this, reins and this kind of, it's their life. But it was not for me. Like, for me as Amruta, it was like, oh my God, is everything fine? And then I was like, what if there some creature comes, and then what? So there was this, this kandil in my hand, and I'm just going. So that kandil was my thing, So like, I was but with Sumitra Maushi, she would provide us with so many details about the character. And as I told you, the locale would give us so much about the character, because we actually will go to the places where these kind of characters, they live there. And then, so it's not something you have to imagine, because you're staying there. So when Parubai is doing that bhakri thing, the chula is there, right there. So all those things, and not only Parubai, all other things I did with Sumitra Maushi. For example, Badha, it was Dhangar shepherd woman. So she was also like, she took me to a shepherd basti, and then she made me interact with those women. She made me interact with cows there, or my animals. She made me interact with those women, and they do bhakri with both hands like this. She made me learn that. So like, that kind of like, how much a director can offer to an actor. How much. She was epitome of like how much a director can give to an actor. And then of course we enjoyed working with her.
Absolutely. And I can say that with whatever preparation you did, I think it really did show on screen, because I cannot imagine that you did not live in that terrain, or you were not experienced with that kind of a terrain, because both of you actually were in your character, and it actually did not feel that you're an actor playing someone. It felt like you are Parubai, or you are Tulsa, who are actually living there, who are actually facing this situation. And Anjali, you've played a range of characters that have defined your career. So how would you define Tulsa? Because to the viewer, she is presented as Ramji's accused daughter-in-law. And did you conjure up any backstory, or was the script strong enough for you to understand the character and for you to kind of limit yourself to that and just present your character as is on screen?
To be honest, I really didn't think of any of it. Like, it was like Sumitra Maushi called me and she was like, oh, it's a very small role, but I see you there. Will you be able to come? It's a story on Advait. And for last 2 years, I am studying Advait philosophy. And I was like, what? Advait? It is based on Advait. And I was like, okay, tell me when to come, where to come, I'll come. So it was, and then I got to know that, okay, Kishorada is part of it. So for me, it was like, I'm just coming. You make me stand wherever you want me to, to stand. So, I just went, we sang the, I read the script, of course, and I got to know about the story, what happens. And I was like, I just wanted to live amongst them, I didn't want to do anything. I thought, okay, wherever you take me, you take me. So every day I was barely there for 3-4 days, but I would just get into my sari and I would just wait for everybody to come and sit and go follow them like a child. And in between of that and lived. I remember the first day when I came and Amruta came back from the shoot, and she was like a child. She was like so happy because she had just come from that absolutely muddy farmland.
Yeah, I
And she
remember
said,
that.
you have to go, you have to try it. It is so beautiful. I was like, yes, yes, of course, I will try it. So we all were like children. We like I saw Dilip Prabhavalkar ji on the first day. He was sitting having chai, but he was like absolutely like a child. And Mohan Agashe sir, everyone was like it. It was like a playground. Everybody was like children, and she would she would make you live. Sumitra Bhave, she would just like push you and make you live in those places, and then silently she would keep on observing, keep on filming. So for me, I was like, where is the film crew, where is the camera? We could not even spot the camera. We were just living, we were just like being there. When we are hungry, we will eat food, then the break is over, then we'll go back to the. So it was absolutely magical, meditative, uh, and this was my first time of working. And I kept saying that I wish everyone was like making films like these. You don't know when that you are making a film, you're just living. I had no dialogue in the film. I think I speak just 2 words or something. So it was, for me, everything was like just being there, just being there. And as Amruta was saying, that room, the light, and all the film is lit in natural light. We have used all the natural lights all throughout the film. So that light, the smoke in the kitchen, everything will make you do it. So I don't think if I did any kind of cerebral preparation. All I did was just go and live there and look at her, look at Sumitra Maushi and what she wants, and that's it, do it. I also remember that she's so incredible. Like in that kitchen, so there was a lot of smoke, and in that tiny kitchen, she kept sitting for hours until we finished the scene. I went inside and I was like, okay, I will. And I started to feel suffocated after 10-15 minutes, and I could not stay. I came out and I was like, okay, I will go when the shot is ready. And I was like, where is Sumitra Maushi? And they were like, she was sitting inside. I was like, oh, really? And she kept sitting inside all throughout. So it was not just being part of it, it was learning every single second. It's incredible. I mean, all of that. Yeah, same with the kitchen. We had to remove the window. The light guys wanted to remove the window so they can put some light. And she was like, no, first call the owner and ask him if he's okay, taking out the window. And they were like, no, we can just fix it back. Nobody will know. It's like, no. Ask him if he is okay. Only then take it out. We were shooting in a very, interior village. The call didn't connect. And then she asked the DOP sir that, okay, can you do something? He was like, yeah, we will not take down the window. You please lit up in a different way. It just stayed in my mind that, this filmmaking has changed so many ideas in my mind since I started working in films. In a way, corrupted me in so many ways. When I saw her, I was like, oh, okay, this is also a way of filmmaking which is full of values, full of ideas that I started with. So it was, yeah, all of this together. There is no chance we can be inauthentic even for a single second around her.
I'm very happy that Anjali talked about the cinematography, because Dhananjay's contribution to the film is such a huge contribution. And as we were talking about all the factors which have contributed to the theme, cinematography is like the kind of experiments he has done in the film. They are really, I salute him. A different salute for Dhananjay.
Yeah. It's like a verse, every frame, when you read any Quran or any sacred script, there are these two lines.
Yeah.
Every single one, like every frame looks like a verse. It's like you just have to put those two lines. It's absolutely sacred.
Absolutely. And each frame was painted, as you said, it was so magical and it was so beautiful that I could not shift my eyes from the screen. And because I just had to be glued, and I just had to look at each and every frame to understand the story, to understand the character, the psyche of the character. And as you said, it's a beautiful fabric. But what I wanted to ask lastly was, what does a film like Dithee mean for Marathi cinema now that Indian cinema is again getting noticed by the world?
Before I talk about that, I would also like to talk a few lines about the music of the film, because I think, the crescendo at the end of the film, and the spiritual message of the film, music contributes so vitally in that message. And all the songs have touched my heart. And when I saw this film, I was fortunate to watch it for the first time with the audience at Mami, and the kind of emotional impact this film had on the audience, and everyone was crying. Yes, everyone was. Even I was crying, but that crying was, that transcending crying. There are different kinds of crying, I would say, but this going beyond kind of a thing, this transcending. And when we are, so as you then coming back to your last question, like, I think that each one of us has gone through this grief of loss of a loved one, and each one of us have felt shattered because of it, devastated because of it. And Sumitra Maushi, through the film, wants us to find a place inside us, which is a place which is centered and which understands these ups and downs and still can be centered, and which is a wise place, which is a place which, after transcending or going beyond, that place says all these things, and that place says, which every one of us has that place inside us, but we are sometimes not connected to that place. But then that when that film starts saying that last song, Anjali, if you remember the words, sorry, I can't help you with the words right now. But then the song talks about like everything becoming one. Everything becoming one. Now, goosebumps, because so that Abhanga tells us about this oneness of thing, and then the whole, that houseful audience of Mami, they started, I could feel the oneness they all were feeling. Me feeling that, oh, I don't know the person who is sitting here, but then there is something which is common to both of us. We are one, and it's in every one of us, and then that also gives strength to come in terms with that grief we feel of that loss, because you cannot get that person back, but somehow you have to come in terms with it. And then that grief stabs you again and again. You think that, okay, now I'm in terms, and suddenly you see that person's shirt maybe or something, and suddenly you start crying, and you're like, oh my god, it's come back with that same vigor and same force, like a cyclone. What do I do now? But while that cyclone is coming again and again, you have this place of centeredness which says that yes, this is life and I can deal with it, and I can go beyond it, and I can feel oneness with this whole life, not only human beings, the sky, this tree, all these creatures around me, and we all are connected. And then death also has a bigger meaning, and we are not only bodies, we are someone beyond our bodies, and all this sense that film gave me, and it connected me to that space inside me. And I really hope that it does to all, like everyone who who watches the film, because right now I think we need it the most.
Yes. I think as a community, it will be offering a healing, a very, a balm which will be like soothing for all of us. And yeah, ironic that this is the time that, this film is coming. So I'm very sure that though it talks about life and death and things which we kind of run away from, we don't want to look at these emotions. The film, it presents you a very different, it presents all these things in such a beautiful way that yeah, as Amruta was saying, that it automatically it goes into somewhere in a deeper place of yours, which connects with the universe, with the Vishwa. So I'm hoping that people see it and they find some healing through this film.
Thank you so much. I loved having this.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much for having this interview with me. And I hope that the world over enjoys, and India, of course, enjoys Dithee, that is releasing on SonyLIV on 21st. Thank you so much.